Today I'm going to show you how to detail out your basic kitty. This is part 2. If you want to see part 1, just click at the end of this video or search for part 1 of Coraline Cat. Making with thermoplastics. So we're going to be sculpting this with a tool. This is one of my favorite tools. You can get all sorts of types of these, but I do like the Fordham. It's a hot wax carver used in the dental industry. So it uses a heated up tip, and I like it that it has variable temperatures. I never go beyond 3. The kind of sweet zone for thermoplastic is between 3 and 2. So it's a soldering stand that you can buy for like 10 bucks. I really like having this kind of setup because this is a very sharp point, and this is the tip that I prefer to use. I do like having a couple of mini hot melt glue guns, and I have them in a couple of different colors all ready to go. These aren't heated up yet, but they will be soon. Other things, I like to have a little heavy dish. I'll have some water in this so that if I get hot melt glue on myself, I can instantly stick my hand in some cold water, and I can also show you how to use this for shaping. And then colored hot melt glue sticks. See you later, Jenny. In black and in color. We'll be using some of these. I'll be showing you that. Then I do like to have just paint dishes. We'll be starting out with making the eyes because you need to have those kind of cure while you're doing all the sculpting. I'm going to test out using a nail polish top coat, and this one in particular is by Hollow Taco and Simply Nail Logical. She came out with this brand and I've just been really liking it. No sponsorship here. I'm just using different things that I come across and I really like. I'm using that instead of your 2-part epoxy, which generally in the industry I've been taught to use to make eyes, to make the glossy coat on top of eyes. So I'm going to try this, see how it works. Sort of inspired by Simply Nail Logical's Polish Mountain. So that gave me some ideas of how you could layer this up and get some really cool effects. And it really reminded me of how we do our eyes. I wanted to get away from using 2-part epoxies, and even though nail polishes have acetone in them, which your body at small amounts can actually metabolize out. Your body has a system to do that. Where with the 2-part epoxies, the BPA, which is a hormone disruptor, your body doesn't have a way to really metabolize that out, and it has, to a lot of people, including myself, created long-term health problems. So I'm trying to reduce my exposure to it and find some different options. And I hope you enjoy this video. These are some of the materials that I'll be using. So I do like to use a biscuiting, kind of a very opaque and matte black. Then I'll use various colors of blue, and then the interference blue, and that's in the fine. And I'll even try some iridescent, and then maybe a little bit of holographic. I'm going to use just some scrap paper or cardboard, and I look for it in a material that is close to the color that I'm going to be doing. A hole punch that's about the right size, and I'm going to try see if I can get some good circles out of that. That one's a little bit more dull than this guy here. Let's see if we get a little different size. This is a cleaner cut here. And I always recommend you do a few more than what you intend to make in the end, just so you have some choices, and if something messes up, it's not the end of the world because you have a bunch more. So I'm going to stick all these eyes to a little tray here. This is the top of a tin can, and the edges are nice and safe from the type of can opener I use. And then this is just a little bit of sticky wax, and I'm just going to put down a few little pieces of that. Now I'm going to lay out my colors of blue on a little desk as well. This is my little paint tray. I love working on these types of things. It's just recycled, and then at the end, if you get a lot of buildup of paint, you have kind of like a decorative item. So now I'm going to try this top coat and we'll see how it goes. Now I'll just set these aside and I'll start working on the rest. And every once in a while I'll put a new coat on them. So these are some of the tools I'm going to use to sculpt this guy down. I really like the silicone mat. It's as you can see, I got it from a pet supplier, and it's nice and big, and I like working on gray. And I've got the water, and this is a fingertip protector and some hot melt glue guns in the black. My Ford and wax carver is set up and heating up here. So I'm going to sort of smooth out the shape and fill in any holes, as well as build out his ears and his face a little bit more. So now that I have the body mostly kind of filled in and smoothed out, I'm going to start creating the fur. And this is just a little movement with the kind of a slicing movement with the tip of the hot tool. And I like to start at the end of the legs and work towards the head. And you're going to do this in the direction that the fur grows. It's not always going to be in the direction of the body. You just have to look at animals, especially on this one, cat, to see what direction their fur grows. And you want to start at the very back end, and then you're going to be layering on top. You might keep in mind that I've turned down the heat a little bit, so I'm not melting the thermoplastic quite as quickly. And this will make sure that you don't get too much of a shininess. This is also where you're kind of breaking up the surface so that you don't have too much of that shiny plastic look. And you'll also, for the belly and such, you'll be starting kind of right at the center belly and just sort of slicing into the surface, kind of pulling out a little bit of the glue, kind of bringing those little tufts of fur out. And you also want to start on the inside of the legs too. Oftentimes I get too far on the outside and I forget to do the inside. Sometimes I damage the outside work because of the hard access it is to get to the inside. So you just keep on working from the back end and working forward, always finding the direction. And then at the neck I might switch directions, and the nose, I start at the nose and I work towards the back of the head. And you can do a couple of passes. It's just a really forgiving medium. And I'll do this before I attach the pink nose and the eyelids, just so that I can get better idea of what things look like and See if I need to go in there and add a little bit more if there's a divot. But I know working black on black, it's really kind of difficult to see this. But just give you an idea. So here's a good before and after of the cat, before we did any detailing and building out the body and then the fur. And I have various colors. You can see there's a little bit different pinks and reds available. I'm going to create a thin sheet of hot melt glue using this mat here. So this is a silicone mat. I'm just going to put a nice little dab of that. Set that down. And I'm going to press. I'm going to use this cool water here. I'm going to press it a little bit. You can use anything. I'm going to gently bring it back up, and then I'm going to pour out just a tiny bit of water. And I'm going to use the water to cool down the hot melt glue. This just speeds it up a little bit. And if I was a little bit more patient, that would have worked very well. And you can see a nice thin sheet of hot melt glue. Now I'm going to work on the eyes. And you can kind of see what the size the eye will be. And I'm going to cut out some eyelids to be able to attach it with. Here he is with his eyelids on. You just kind of rough them in first, and then you can detail them out and you can modify them. Or if you don't like them, you can just detach them and reattach new shapes. You can see he's got a little bit of that kind of iridescent glow and interference pattern in his eyes. Now we're going to attach the whiskers. I've saved whiskers from my own kitties to then attach. And I'll cut these down so that you have like the end of the whiskers. Here's Cat with his whiskers. You can see I crimped them just a little bit to match the ones in the film. We did that a little bit in the film, just to make him look a little bit more scraggly and like he's been around the block.